Yesterday I indicated that the only top 3 candidates really of note within the current Tory leadership campaign are Sajid Javid, Boris Johnson and the SNEC. Well, as I was recording that, Esther McVey was actually on the Andrew Marr show making some wild claims. Not that this makes her any more of a worthwhile candidate, but she did say something that I actually find quite interesting, in that she believes that should a deal not be agreed upon with the EU, we should not and will not have to pay the £39 billion divorce deal as a commitment for being a member of the bloc, or part of our commitment as being members of the bloc, or having once been that. Many of us believed the reason that even existed was because of the transition period. On the show, Andrew Marr actually hit back and said it was legally owed. And that is an argument many have had, whether or not leaving with no deal means we still have to pay it or not, with the House of Lords themselves reporting or making a report on this, saying that the potential contribution the UK would still have to pay Brussels after leaving to meet the commitments made during membership of the bloc. Since this was an agreed part of the deal, negotiating the deal that is, that we would pay that, an argument can in fact be made that it is not actually what we should or can or have to pay if no deal is reached upon, because it is part of the deal. Leaving without a deal means we don't stick in a transition period. Therefore, we do not have to pay it, because there's nothing legally that says we should. Now, the legal advice is absolutely clear that most of that money is money we owe. Yes, from his advice. But the Chancellor actually disagrees and reduces it to something nearer to 20 billion as opposed to 39. And also, we have to be clear here, it is legal advice, nothing more. Miss McVey has insisted that no deal would help save Britain money, as the country does not have to pay access to customs union and single market during the implementation period. With her saying, we got 39 billion back on the table, we have no deal back on the table, which I think is quite interesting. Now, as a candidate, this is quite an outlandish thing to say, because this would go against what many of the current cabinet think, because they want the deal. Obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be in the cabinet. Look what Johnson did. Esther McVey has had a couple of incidents to get back on track with her leadership campaign. Many have brought these up. The first one being that she said a number of lies when it came to when she was the Work and Pensions Secretary. She was a bit flippant about food banks and called it a positive thing that more people were using them. Although I think in context, it is, because I'd rather they didn't starve. So the newest little controversy that has come up that is threatening her leadership campaign come from comments she made with regards to LGBT education, where she believes that it is better for parents to take young children out of that because it is illegal, immoral and deeply dangerous. Angela Rayner, the Shadow Education Secretary, has claimed that Esther McVey is not fit to be a candidate for Prime Minister or an MP, with her being quoted as saying, "We cannot and will not fail LGBT young people. Not only do we have a moral duty to ensure that all young people receive LGBT inclusive education, there is a legal requirement too under the Equalities Act." McVey has pointed out on the BBC that these were young people in primary schools, and people who should know it is age relevant are the parents, not the state, with her believing that with very young children, 4 to 5 years old especially, parents would know for their child what is age relevant, or what is best for their child. And actually I tend to agree with her on this. I don't believe sex education of any kind, including same-sex relationship-related commentary, should be taught to children as young as that. They are far too impressionable, far too adolescent, to comprehend that quite complex subject. I mean, I know when a teenager wants to learn about it, all you have to do is say, okay, if that bloke wants to do that bloke, so be it. If that bloke wants to do that bloke and that woman, so be it. If that woman wants to do that woman, so be it. Who cares? It really doesn't matter. I'm kind of looking forward to the day when we get to the point where no one gives a damn about each other's sexuality, because I really don't care. I don't believe this subject is as controversial as it is being painted as, but I do understand why many have pounced on this calling for her to resign. There are other Conservatives that have jumped on this and said that the party can't choose when it supports equality. But this is not an equality argument. This is about appropriateness with regards to what we teach very, very young children. And I think that's where many are missing the point. With regards to Esther McVey's comments on the divorce bill, and of course this non-controversy which has been made out to be a controversy when it's really not, just a fundamental misunderstanding by a bunch of MPs that clearly don't understand a very simple point. I would love to know what you think, so please let me know in the comments below. I think I might tackle Jeremy Corbyn's recent Peterborough Victory MP, who's already in trouble with anti-Semitism, as the next video on this channel. I'm seeing a trend. I wonder if anyone's willing to accept it from the Labour side.